happy. I'm very happy that you've made it to this video. You don't know it yet, but you're extremely lucky to have found this video. And for those of you who actually go ahead and go through the video and see the whole thing, you'll be happily rewarded. And also those of you who will actually get the book and study and apply the knowledge in your life, you will be having a life-changing experience in a tremendously positive way for yourself and anybody else that you meet. You can powerfully impact their life in a positive way. Now, the biggest hurdle when we come upon trying to share the information, I've tried to share the information with many people, is the obstacle is that many people perceive any kind of sexual feelings or sexual thoughts that arise within them. They consider all these urges completely natural, and so they don't genuinely question them. They just consider it instinct. So when I come upon and try to tell them, look, your feelings and the way you think and the way you feel can be manipulated powerfully using a series of manipulations, which is what is being used in various sexual presentations, in various programs, in various videos. It could be done by auditory in so many ways. And it's not those little things that you see online where you see a little figure hidden amongst some image. No, it's much more specific than that. Okay, so first of all, if you want to go directly to the various parts in this video, I have put annotations on it, on this video. You will see it on top and the bottom, possibly somewhere. You see a whole bunch of annotations about this video. You could skip to different sections of it to fast forward. Of course, if you're using a iPhone to get it, some kind of phone to see this, you will be able to see annotations. So it's on the website, Sage Hope, that's SageHope.wordpress, WORDPRESS.com. So go ahead and go over there. I put the annotations on the web page itself, so you can see the minutes where to skip forward. So basically, what's happening is that people are being manipulated in a massive way. Manipulated using a series of manipulations that are mind manipulations. People are unaware of these things, and I'm going to give you a prime example of them. I'm going to give you a very good example here. I'm actually going to give you a few examples, but one major one. And so people are affected powerfully, and because they don't know that they can be manipulated, because they think all this stuff, the feelings that they feel sexually and thoughts that they have, they think it's instinctual. They see no choice but to fight what they consider to be their instincts, or give in to their instincts and have a sexual encounter. You have heard, I'm sure. You have heard, I'm sure, of many celebrities and judges and policemen and presidents and so many people in Congress and in prime ministers and whatever. Your local baker, you name it. All sorts of people in all sorts of profession are susceptible to these powerful manipulations. Why? Because they don't know how the manipulations work. And so therefore they can be affected by them. And they don't know how they're being affected, and so they attribute it mistakenly to instinct. Oh, I'm instinctually feeling this way. Oh, it's such a big, massive problem in society. Such a huge, devastating effect it has on each person. The individual person, the person in relationships. Think about presidents, or think about high-ranking officials and like judges and so many people. These people are not stupid. To even celebrities who've achieved great things, great many things. These people are not stupid and gonna risk their family life, which they love their wife, they love their kids, and to risk that and go have a sexual encounter with whomever. No, it's not that they're stupid. They just don't know. They have not been exposed to the information, and so they're susceptible. Think about the so many priests who priests and whoever else from whatever religion that goes and does sexual immoral things when they're supposed to have a handle on this stuff. Well, they don't have the information. They don't. They have not known about it, they have not applied it, and so they're susceptible to it, just like anybody else in society, just like your local baker or whoever else, any businessman or whatever, lawyer or whatever, teacher, etc. So, in order to do a task, you have to know how that task is done. Otherwise, you just don't know, and you're dumbfounded. So, there is a science to tying your shoe. There is a science to playing guitar. There's a science to building a rocket ship and flying it. There's a science in all these things, And so there's a science also in sexual attraction, how sexual attraction occurs, and also there's a science to sexual addiction, how to free the mind. See what's been happened. There's a science to actually capturing the mind, and there's a science to release the mind from this capture. What you've been exposed to is a science of capturing your mind, and so now you have to understand that science, understand. First, you have to identify the manipulations, which is the book goes into this in detail. How to identify manipulations. You go, there it is, there it is, there it is, there it is, there it is. And these manipulations come usually multi-layered, many at the same time, multi-layered, many. So many that you can't count them. And hidden, many are hidden, invisible. You cannot see them. Some of these are absolutely invisible. It's not even, you don't even have a chance of, it's not visual. It's something else is going on. And you'll be introduced to it in the book. And your mind just pops open. You go, now I see what's going on. You just simply cannot see it. And it's nothing to do with hidden images and all this stuff. Nothing so vague. It's very specific. So who has a chance to free themselves? No one. I'm going to guess 1% of the population, a very small number of the population, gets themselves busy in something else, so they don't falter in sexual anything. Get involved in sexual whatever. They busy themselves with exercise or this that. They really haven't conquered sexuality. They're just busy themselves with something else. And if that should come up, they have to try to, if they perchance see it, they are susceptible to it, they gotta constantly dodge it. But for the rest of the population, I would say over 99%, over 90% for sure, over 99%, I'm going to say that a large portion of the population is susceptible to this stuff. And what hooks them, part of it that hooks them, is their honesty. These people are honest with themselves. They say, look, there's something pulling me towards this stuff. What is it? In fact, the more honest you are, the more susceptible you are, because you want to know the truth. You want to understand, hey, why am I attracted to this? What's going on here? Why is it so powerful? And while you get engaged in this activity, trying to figure out what's going on, you're overwhelmed, and you are fallen into lust, and you have not figured out what's happened, how it works, what's going on. Think over 90%, right, of the population, I would say 99% of the population, are susceptible to this. So you got every single family, pretty much every single family, who has this devastating problem. Why is it devastating? Well, take one person who is. I'm not even going to I'm not even going to go into the details of somebody who's uncaring and sexual as well, and uncaring, and goes and abuses people. I'm just talking about the regular person who is sexual, and he or she is overcome by it, and he doesn't know what's the solution to it. I've known people who get married, and one guy told me, look, I got married, and it seemed everything to work fine. Then I started getting attracted to some other lady. I was very much into her, so I realized I should divorce this lady and marry the other one. I married the other one. What is he doing? He's following what he thinks is natural, instinctive. And then while I'm with her, after a while, I started seeing somebody else, seeing that I'm attracted to this other person, and so I divorced this one and married that one. Yeah. So he 3 people. He married, divorced, married, divorced. Yeah, married, divorced. Hello, Mr. Squirrel. I have nothing for you. You smell something, huh? I wonder if I have anything. I don't have anything. I'll have a banana, but that's it. Okay, bye. Bye. Okay, so so it's a massive problem. It's a massive problem, and so it's affecting everybody. Why is it devastating? Why is it devastating? Well, you got the individual who is sidetracked from his ambitions, from his goals in life, his studies, his whatever he was planning. This is taking this sexual attraction and sexual obsession from the low to medium to high degrees, is taking up his time. It's taking up his energy. It's taking up his health. It's taking up his weeks, months, years, and also taking up a lot of time, which is his life. He's taking up his life, and instead of meeting with actual opposite gender, or as in female meeting with males and males meeting with females, getting together, learning from each other about relationships, what are relationships about, what does a female think of a relationship, what does a male think of a relationship, and go through the various things about the problematic areas of relationships through talk back and forth about what they've heard about their own families, and what to understand, explore each other's perspectives, to really understand and grasp both perspectives, to understand about relationships. Instead of spending time on that, his or her time is spent on illusion, on the sexual programs, and whatever else, and self-pleasuring, and chasing after one bar after another, or some other sexual encounter or another, or strip bars or whatever, wasting their time, their energy, their life, instead of really gaining knowledge, gaining an understanding of relationships and what it requires, and so in order for them to find an appropriate mate to interact with in the future, to have a future life together. They gain nothing, these people, because they're not really interacting with other persons. They should be talking with so many various people to gain and learn about this knowledge, to get a very accurate knowledge as much as possible. Talking through many people, by many people from different ages, to build that understanding for people who are married, people who are just married, people who have been married for many years, people who are single. Talk about various things. Learn about the various games, possibly games that men play, games that many females play. What's going on? What's going on with life? How to find a sincere person? What is a sincere person like? What's the advantages of being sincere? So many things like this. So none of this is explored, and instead the person has gone for illusion. Self-satisfied because of the self-pleasure while watching these sexual programs. The person is, in a state of illusion, feels satisfied somewhat. Now, the person is powerfully impacted by the various series of manipulations present in these various sexual presentations, and he or she just does not know what's going on, but he or she admits to themselves that, wow, what I'm experiencing is so powerful. So personally, biggest drawback while self-pleasuring and watching these programs is the time that is wasted, right? The time, which is your life. Your life is wasted. Weeks go into months, go into years, go into decades. The person may wake up around 40, 45 years old, realizing they don't have a proper relationship. Yeah, so by that time they realize they've wasted a lot of their time, which is their life. They wasted a lot of their life. So you're really hurting yourself. Those who are self-pleasuring and just stuck in that, Those who have married, they still have the problem, of course, because they don't have the solution. You have to learn about the solution. Many people who are married, they go to strip bars, they try to meet other people for sexual interactions. They're stuck on various sexual presentations, sexual programs. So it's cutting a big wedge between them and their partner, separating them and their partner, is drawing them further and further away from their partner, which they married, because they have this problem. It's pulling them also back so far away. And all these years that they've been together, for as many years that they've been together, they've actually been separating further and further apart, because this problem persists. This problem is there. This big, massive problem. And so what is a person to do? This person, the female or the male, whoever it is that is on the receiving end of this, meaning this person is cheating or doing something wrong, going after sexual this, sexual that, and too much of that. This person feels neglected, feels they're being cheated on, their life has been ruined, has been taken advantage of. They feel like they've wasted their life. Think about the person having children, all this stuff is too much. The people who have jobs, they have sexual problems, right? Their job is suffering. Usually their job suffers tremendously. Every aspect of their life suffers tremendously, usually because they're focused on their sexual stuff, and it takes their time away from the other things. So definitely it's a big problem. I mentioned judges. There's a page on my website which talks about giving you the names of various judges who have been convicted. Convicted means they have been found guilty of sexual various things that they've done. Judges. These are not, to be a judge, you have to go through, I don't know, so many years and years of study and things you have to memorize about this and that, and how, I know, it's just too much. And then for them, I'm showing you that these are intelligent people. They're not stupid. They're very, very highly intelligent. Why is it that they fall for this trick? The trick is so easy, so pitiful. Once you realize how it's done, you laugh at it. You go, oh my God, I can't believe I fell for this trick. Just like a magic trick. When you see a magic trick, the magician knows a series of tricks. When he puts these series of tricks together for one showing, it really baffles people. People are, boom, really powerfully affected. They go, wow, how the heck did he do that? Right? He's not employing one trick. He's using many tricks together to do this fantastic illusion. People who don't know about it are powerfully, like a jolt to their mind. They go, wow, it's like shocking. Now, once people realize how a trick is done, once the trick is explained to them, the series of manipulations for this magician shown, one trick after the other, for this whole illusion, how it really is shown to people, how it is manifest to people, what effect it really does give to people. People, once they realize these tricks put together, shown to them visibly, they go, now I see how it's done. It becomes very, very clear to them. No longer is it a mystery. It becomes obvious, clear as snow, clear, easy. Next time somebody shows them the trick, they go, oh, I know how this is done. They're not impressed anymore because they know how it's done. It's solved, it's simple, it's straightforward. But before being told about the knowledge, they're like, wow, I don't know how this guy does it. They're really amazed. So that's what's happening with this information. Before you know about it, it's bam, unbelievable. I mean, you see the sexual stuff, you're really powerfully affected. They're like, man, what the heck is going on there? And you think it's natural, and so you leave it at that. You go, wow, that's amazing. And so they're affected by it. They watch it over and over again, various presentations of sexual whatever, and they're affected by it. Mentally, powerfully affected. Wow, sexually, they're into it, and they're like, wow, this is amazing. Now, once you realize how it's done, you'll laugh at it. You'll laugh at it and you say, this is so stupid. I can't believe I fell for it. All right, so now realize it's a series of tricks. And in this video, I'm going to give you one. So I want you to learn it, learn all of the stuff, get the book, and learn the information, learn all the series of tricks, how they're fantastically put together to create this big, massive illusion, and what's the solution to it. You learn to identify the tricks, learn how they work, how and why they work on the mind. You learn how your mind works, and you also learn how to cancel or nullify the effects of these tricks. Cancel or nullify the tricks themselves. You learn how to do that. So we said it's going to affect, it is affecting already so many people on a massive scale, their lives. I met a guy who said, I was making $3 million a year at this high-paying job, obviously. And I couldn't stop looking at various sexual presentations on my job. And so eventually they fired me. He was living at his friend's house or homeless, but big, massive changes in his life. You know many people who had something similar to that. Okay, so This is a book that I've written, and it's a solution. It's a solution manual. Now, I don't know if you've taken math courses before or not, but some of these math courses, like calculus, they come with a solution manual because they're somewhat complex for people to understand, and they need a little more help. Actually, a lot more help. I've taken calculus, so I know. Okay, so the book also has another book, which is a solution manual. Step by step, they show you how the equations are done, one to the next step, and solved. They just don't give you the answer. They give you the solution and how it will solve step by step, calculation after calculation until the end. It's called a solution manual. This book is the solution manual to sexual attraction. And the solution manual to sexual addiction. So it not only shows you step by step progressive understanding of how attraction occurs, but also shows you step by step, gradually have you understand, grasp how sexual addiction occurs, and also how to free your mind from it. I'm going to go into the book arrangement and start giving you about the knowledge. Okay, so the book arrangement. The book is arranged because I know how the mind works and I want to present the information in an easy to grasp manner. I presented the book in 242 insights. They're very short, compact sentences or paragraphs. They're compact. So I took like 3 sentences, made them into one. 5 sentences, made them into one. Very compact. Some are explanatory, so they're longer, so they're in a paragraph form. But nonetheless, even in that form, trying to be very concise and compact. So with a little bit of reading, you get a rich burst of knowledge, you see. So what you do is you go into an insight, you read that, you try to understand it. So what you do is you go into an insight, you read that, you try to understand it as best as you can. Question the hell out of it so you really understand this insight. You look at it, this insight's principles in actual life to see if you can identify the principles of this insight working in actual life so it becomes real to you. The knowledge becomes real to you. You want to look at it in innumerable situations of life. And in situations where it seems not to work, go into that one deeply and observe the situation more deeply, and you'll come upon why it didn't work, and you'll see that it actually was working, but something else was occurring there which you had not taken into account. So once you read an insight, you go to the next insight. Once you read the insight, you study it, you learn, analyze. You grasp it. Yeah, I see, I understand it. Go to the next insight. You don't have to read the explanation that is underneath each insight. You skip the explanations. Just read one insight, go to the next insight, until the book is finished. After you've finished the book, go back and read each insight along with the explanation that is written underneath each insight. Please make sure to read insight number 2, the example under insight number 2, very hefty information there. You must read that. The book has insight briefs, which are insight briefs, which are 1 sentence format, 1 sentence, like this short. sentence long, uh, uh, for all the insights, each, which is 242, there's 242 sentences showing the insights in brief in one sentence format. This is further in the front of the book, called Insight Briefs. We have pictorials on the back of the book, which are keywords and pictures depicting, representing each of the insights. So that once you read an insight, you can easily review what you've read about the various insights by looking at these pictures. Pictures or pictorials, I call them, because they have keywords in there, keywords and pictures together. So once you read an insight, you've studied, let's say, 10 series of insights. You go to the back of the book, you could easily look at those 10 pictures and easily, it's like an easy, fresh review. Very quickly, you quickly could look at the pictures and get a reminder of what you've read. This is done so that you can easily review the whole book. Once you've read it and understood it, you can review it quite easily by looking over the pictures, which are the pictorials in the back. I have a very interesting index. I call it a comprehensive index. It's designed so that when you go to the index, you don't have to, let's say you look up under the section mind and you look up at something relevant to the mind under the mind. You don't have to go back to flip through the pages, look for that section and read that section. No, that section, a sentence up to 4 or 5 sentences, I think it's 4 sentences is actually in the back already, in the index. So when you get to the section of the mind, the whole section actually is written there, paragraph by paragraph, sentence by sentence, or paragraph by paragraph of everything related to the mind. So you don't have to flip back to the pages. You could just read them all there in the index. Saves you a lot of time. Okay, so we're going to go into the knowledge of the book. Have in mind that this knowledge has, meaning when you look at these various sensual programs, you're utterly confounded. You don't know what the heck is going on. You just think it's instinct. Because when I reveal to you something right now, it's gonna be as simple as day for you. You're gonna go, oh, I see. Okay. So I'm going to reveal one, actually a series of tricks. But in the book, there's a whole series of the stuff there that is put together so fantastically. I don't want you to miss it. I want you to learn it and free your life and inform everybody else. Okay. Because your lives are important. Important to me. Your lives are important. That's why I wanted to get the message out. Okay. So we're going to talk about the knowledge. So a lot of the knowledge in the book, a lot of it has to do with contrasts. A lot of the manipulations are are about contrasts. So, as you know, let's say the opposite of contrast is taking a white pen, a pen that writes with white, and draw on a white background. Let's say the green here. Yeah, green against green. If I draw with a pen that is green on this green color, you won't be able to see what I've written because it's the same color. Foreground and background are the same color, so nothing. As soon as you introduce a different color that is from the foreground and the background, so black on white, right? Now there's a difference, a duality, so it registers in your mind. It makes a small impact. You take note of it. Now it could be like the letter I, for example. Here's the letter I, right? Simple straight line color contrast against the background. Or it could be like the letter S, right? Now the letter S is composed of the shape convex and concave, 2 opposing elements. So when you see the letter I, you see the color contrast, one impact. Color against color of black, black against white, color contrast. But when you see this S, you see the color as well as the shape. The shape is contrasting. There's two contrasting elements of the shape in the letter S. So you get a double impact. Your mind is seeing the color and the shape that is opposing. Black against white and concave against convex. You get a double impact on your mind with one viewing. Now, other things could be that impact the mind are patterns. Right? So here are a few patterns. Consider one of these shapes in these patterns written in the S. S written like a pattern. Then you get a triple impact with one viewing. Wow. Other things are impactful to the mind are like texture of material. So let's say you see a letter of S sewn with some kind of pattern that the texture is different from the material that it's printed on. Now you get pattern, texture, color, and shape. Shape that is different, two different shapes. So you get four concepts that are different, opposing elements that are different, that are impacting the mind with one viewing. So there's infinite amount of other contrasts available, including contrasts that are invisible, which I'm going to share that with you in the book. And these innumerable contrasts affect the mind, powerfully affecting it. And because there's so many, see, they purposefully bombard the mind with innumerable contrasts. So the mind darts back and forth between one contrast and the next and the next and the next. Even each one is powerfully shocked. Impact is felt in the mind. The mind is busy with these elements of contrasts. And so there is an attraction developed because the mind is busy with all this stuff, trying to figure it all out. And because a person cannot be conscious of all of them at the same time, he can be conscious of a few items, such as he says, okay, she's wearing red, so this is attracting me. Okay, she's showing me part of her anatomy, this is attracting me. This is you can pick up quite easily, consciously. But there's tons of other contrasts that are there that are affecting. But there's tons of other elements of contrasting elements there that are powerfully impacting the mind, and the individual is dumbfounded what is happening, and his mind is darting back and forth. He cannot be conscious of all of them at the same time, so he attributes this invisible pull that is pulling it towards the screen, this attraction, to sexual instinct, sexual attraction, nature. He doesn't realize that his mind is busy with all these elements of contrast. So what they're doing is, in various sexual programs, they have the genitals of somebody interacting with the head of another person. Now, this is highly, powerfully impactful for many people for many reasons. I'm just going to give you one reason. Okay, so the privates are considered by many cultures to be shameful, low, dirty, shameful. Hide that thing, hide it. We've been taught that from childhood. You got to hide this because it's dirty, shameful, bad, not to be shown, There's a shame associated with it in many cultures. And the head is considered the most noble aspect of a person. They say, oh, such a princely face he has, or such a angelic, she looks like a princess, So the face is considered the most noble aspect of a person. These contrasts of the genitals, or the privates, and the head are so contrasting. It's like sky and earth. Sky and the earth. So, in these various sexual presentations, where they connect, the mind is getting a powerful jolt, because all these are concepts that are different, right? Completely different, like sky and earth. And so, when they interact in some sort of way, in any sort of way, the mind gets a powerful mental jolt. Boom, jolt, bow. This is what gives powerful or power to a sexual interaction. It is not the sex itself, but rather these concepts that are different. opposing, so contrasting. One is thought of as angelic, and the other one is thought as devilish. The genitals is thought of as devilish, of the devil, and this is thought of as angelic, the head, And so when they connect in some sort of way, it's like fire on ice. It's like, whoa, what the heck's going on here? The difference is so great, and the mind is similarly, in that same way, powerfully affected. This is what gives power to the sexual interaction. I'm going to give you a small example of that so it makes absolute sense to you. When you drink tea, and say you drink hot tea with sugar, the sweetness in the tea, let's say, is that sweet, pleasureful sexual sensation. Let's equate it with that. And let's say somebody gives you tea that is very nicely sweet, just like you like it, but it's not hot. It's lukewarm. It's just as your body temperature is. So you take it and you go, yeah, you give it back. You actually give it straight back. You go, why are you making that face? Why is the tea not pleasing to you? Because you want the heat of the tea. It makes a big impact to you. The heat of the tea being different, so drastically different from your own body temperature, tells you by your senses, through your senses, that you're taking something significant, something powerful. So when you take it, you're taking something powerfully sweet. The significance, the power of the tea comes from its temperature difference from your own body. And that's the contrast. That's what gives power to the tea. The sweetness gives the pleasure. So together, it's experienced as a whole as a powerful sweetness. But actually two different concepts, two different things there. One is the heat of the tea, different from your temperature body, and the other one is the sweetness. Two different things happening there. But you experience it as a whole, as one. So you equate the two as one. You say, oh, this is powerfully sweet, You think it's one thing. In sexual programs, that's what's happening. They're presenting things that are contrasting, mentally contrasting, right? And contrasting in many other ways as well, such as color, shapes, so many things that we just mentioned, textures, and many, many more things that give power to the sexual, pleasureful interaction. Therefore, you experience the whole thing as a powerful sexual experience, but actually the power does not come from the sex at all. The power comes from these ideas and concepts and colors and shapes, things that are different, contrasting. That's what gives it power. All right, I hope you appreciate this stuff. Because it took me 4.5 years of research and writing to get to this. And before that, I've been studying from childhood about a whole bunch of stuff to even get to this. This is the last of my research, which you're getting. Yeah, so let's see what else, if there's anything else for me to say. Now, the tendency of the mind is to find the knowledge, once it's known, to consider it simple, because now it's obvious to you. Some parts of it is obvious to you. I want you to see that what I've revealed is really powerful. See that it really makes so absolute sense. It's brought to you so simply. It makes such simple sense. You see that it really makes. I've presented it very nicely, so it makes absolute sense to you, and you go, "Wow, yeah, that makes sense. I can see now how that works." Good. I want you to notice how you were before and how you are now. There's a big contrasting difference between that and now. Now you're looking at what was previously thought of as powerful presentations, sexual presentations. Now you could dissect it somewhat. And it doesn't have such a powerful effect as before. It still does, of course, but still, you can identify a lot of stuff now that previously you couldn't. And I want you to take advantage of that, positive advantage of that, and inform your friends, your family, whoever you know about the stuff, because people have this problem. 99% of people, I estimate, have this problem. So please get the message out, because they are suffering. They are suffering so bad. Uh, this is knowledge that has to be shared. This has the knowledge that has to be known. Uh, you have kids. You send before you send them to school. You warn them about cigarettes. Parents sit their sons down, daughters down, say, look, when you go to school, somebody will might offer you some cigarettes for free. The first few for free. They want to get you addicted, so that you can. Once you're addicted, you have to pay for them the next time. They want their hands in your pocket, so you always have to work for them. You know, their intention is bad for you, because they want to get you addicted, and the stuff is bad for your body anyway, health-wise. You inform them. You know what age the child goes to school? 5 years old. You have to prepare them, because at the age of 6, they'll be going to school, and they might be confronted by something like that, for drugs, for alcohol, cigarettes. You also teach them about strangers, right? You say, if a stranger asks you to go somewhere, don't go with him. If a stranger tries to, grab you when you do your scream, and you kick him or whatever, you try to be with other people you know. Don't go to strange places. Stay in places that you know. Why do you prepare your children? You prepare your children because you're not there to support them 24 hours, right? Because you have a job to do, you have things, so you have to prepare this child to be able to defend themselves and be aware of the various dangers out there, sharp knives, whatever else. You want to have them prepared. Also, you want to have them prepared for somebody manipulating their mind. They have to be taught that just as cigarettes, alcohol, drugs, are gambling as well, are given to them free to addict them. Sexual misinformation is also presented to them for free to addict them. Why? So that they can work, and when they get older, and pay money for this garbage. So they have to be taught what manipulations are being used, because they're quite powerful, and just seeing them is really affects the mind powerfully. You see, seeing them is similar to smoking, getting it inside your being. Seeing these manipulations work by sound, by visually, right? So you have to understand this. Now, because they're visual, all it takes is for the person to see it. They're affected. That's the way they get into the consciousness, into the mind, is through the eyes. And so you need to be aware of that and teach your children what sort of manipulations are used. You don't have to be blunt, but you could still teach the concepts of contrasts, for example, and many other things you could learn and teach them to prepare them, so that when misinformation comes, they could easily dissect it and go, oh, I'm not going to fall for that trick. I know how that happens, how that works. They try to trick you using this and this and this garbage. They'll be able to master their own mind and disallow anybody else manipulating them. For example, a small example is you teach your children about peer pressure. You say, don't follow what others are doing. If others jump out of the window, will you jump out also? So you want your children to not simply follow along what anybody else does, because you want them to be thinking on their own. You don't want anybody else to manipulate them, trick them. You tell them, you teach them that too. So please share this knowledge. Equip your children, equip your adults. Your adults don't have this information yet. So go ahead and get the book, read it. I had somebody actually tell me, the amount of stuff that you have in there is so potent, so powerful. He said, you could make 12 books out of this. He said, you could make 12 volumes. He was serious. He was telling me seriously, say, make 12 volumes out of this. I said, look, I'm getting the, if I make 12 volumes, I don't think people will be buying 12 volumes, you know? You know, I want people to access this information all in one. I want them to access the whole thing, and that's why it's so cheap. It's so cheap. The whole 12 volumes that I could make, I've not made the 12 volumes. I've put it all into one. One volume, you have it all in one book. You don't have to, there's no second volume to this. It's all in there. It's called complete. The complete, the definitive and complete. That's why I put the word complete there. Okay? So it's a gift. It's a gift from me to you. Get the knowledge, use it, change your life positively, massively positively. Not only is it fantastic for you, for you mastering your sexual impulses and all that stuff, which is really not really what you're dealing with. Is not sexual; it's mind manipulation. But you'll master your sexuality. Not only will you master that, but because you're learning to master your mind, it works on so many stuff in your life, so much stuff around in your life. It's just too many to list. It's just super fantastic on so many levels because you learn to master your mind. You know, that's what's so fantastic about it. All right.